Welcome to episode 2. And this is the start. This is when we've got the guests. Little me now can just ask the questions and enjoy it. Although, it was juicy. Very juicy. Oh, what's taking over me? Quite sure. I'm feeling a bit fantastic. Without further ado, let's have a look at this business. Roll titles. Let's create. Hello and welcome to Let's Create, the photography show. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We're starting a new project. It's Let's Create, the photography show. And we're kicking it off big style. Well, I think I'm kicking it off big style with a very, very special guest. And here we have Gavin Hardcastle.
I think maybe there's been a mistake because I thought this was Gary Goff. I thought I was going to get interviewed by Gary Goff.
Well.
I would never have agreed to this. I thought you were just a warm-up act.
Gary's a bit taller than me.
No. Well, I thought you were going to do an intro for him, and then you'd disappear, and then Gary would show up.
Well, no, it's just me and you, bro.
Sake, well, let's just do it anyway then, because I've brushed my teeth and everything, so we might as well just do it.
I've got some posh biscuits.
You got posh biscuits? What's in there?
Look at these. Look at that.
Is that shortbread?
Shortbread, and there's coconut ones as well. Look at these. They've even got sugar on top.
That's cruel because I can't get that here in Canada.
Look at the scene. That looks like a scene from Iceland. Most photographers would pay money for go there in a workshop.
I'm just thinking about the biscuits. That's quite cruel of you. Gary wouldn't have done that.
No, because Gary'd have eaten them all. they won't be there. They'd be gone. How's doing anyway? Good to see you, man. It's been
good.
It's been a long time since I've got to ask you this because I'm not very forthright. And I thought, do you know what? 2021, what's the worst can happen? Gavin tells me to beep.
A lot of people are saying this on social media. It can't get any worse. Stop saying that because it really could.
Predicted aliens.
Let's focus on the positive. Let's try and
agree.
put positive vibes out there and hope that it is going to be a better year. I'm definitely excited for 2021. I've got some big plans, so we'll see. I think it's going to be good.
Very excited indeed. There's a lot to be done. It never stops, so it doesn't matter what gets thrown at us. Just keep going, me. 100 miles an hour. That's the way.
Have you prepared some original questions for this?
Oh yes, very, very original.
Yeah. They're all classy though.
There was a bit about War of the Roses because we are over one side of the Pennines. Well, you're not now, so that was one of my questions was, how did you end up in Vancouver?
Well, Vancouver Island.
Yes.
Well, I came out here in 2006 to visit my cousin Dave, and I'd seen it on TV as a possible destination for where expats might want to end up, and it looked beautiful. So I thought I'll come and check it out, and that was at a time when I was traveling a lot, checking out the world in general. And I came to see my cousin Dave, who lived in Comox here on the island, and I just loved the island. I just loved the lifestyle. I just loved how beautiful it was, and the people were really nice.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to get out of the UK. It was always an ambition to live in a different country. And, I don't speak any other languages. And so, you're kind of limited to the colonies, aren't you? What they call the colonies, Australia, New Zealand, the States, all that. Yeah. So Canada it was, and I had family in Canada anyway. So it just seemed like the perfect choice. And it was just the best move I ever made,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't want a whole bunch of more Brits to come and move here. It's bad enough having Adam, half an hour away.
And Bri and a couple of others
Brian's
that keep popping up
in Vancouver. So it's there's too many British landscape photographers on Vancouver Island. But who knows? I mean, it might not necessarily be where I end up. You know, I have been looking at possible other countries to live. You know, maybe I'd learn Spanish and go down and live somewhere in Central America or South America. So that, you know, the book has not been completed in terms of my book of life.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, as a country, it's you know, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now we don't have the history, like historical monuments that you've got over there in the UK.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of natural beauty, and it seems a lot easier to access in terms of, you know, driving and distances. Like if you live in the UK, the concept of driving 3 hours south, well, the reality is that could take you 9 hours because of the traffic, right?
Yeah.
Whereas here, you know, if Google Maps says 3 hours, it's probably going to be 3 hours, you know. So in that regard, it feels a bit easier to access the natural beauty, but I definitely miss the history that you have in the UK. I mean, how many castles do you think you've got?
Oh, God. I used to know this answer. It's probably a couple of thousand. It's a lot.
Well, I don't know if it's that many, but
yeah, including Scotland, Wales. That was one of my next questions. So you're leading me. I think you were on the right path here, because from Vancouver Island, from the Yorkshire Hills, or where you resided from, he's like, was photography there when you was a kid, when you was a lad, you know, when you was younger back in this country?
Yeah, I mean, it was there, but it was not something really that I was into. My first taste of actual proper photography was black and white 35mm when I was in art college as a teenager in Huddersfield.
Yeah.
And, you know, we just shot black and white, and we, you know, went into the dark room, did our own development. And it was part of that, that alchemy and that ritual and that romance that film photography is.
Yeah.
But I never touched it for decades. From that point, you know, after I left college, I never touched it because music was everything. You know, that's all I had time for was music. But then, you know, I picked it up in what was it 2010? I think I really started to take it seriously, and then, you know, it just took over my life. It was just like, this is what I've got to do. This is all I want to do. And and that fire, I would say it's got even brighter as time's gone on. You know, it's not diminished.
Yeah.
And so I hope it continues like that. But, you know, who knows? Maybe it'll fade, like my I wouldn't say my love of music faded, but my drive to continue making music definitely faded.
Yeah.
But with the photography thing, there's so much more to it, because it gets you out in nature. It reconnects you with nature. It gets you doing what you love, which is just good for your health. It's good for your soul.
Yeah.
Whereas, like when I was writing music for a living, you're trapped inside this soundproof studio, right?
Yeah,
you are completely, you shut the windows, you shut the doors, because the last thing you want is sound to come in and ruin your mix. And so it's very sort of insular and very, very locked off. Your connection with nature is completely severed. You know, and after 20 years of doing that, I needed it. I craved it, you know. So when I wasn't working in the studio, I would travel, you know, and then photography would kind of get me to do things I otherwise wouldn't do. I otherwise wouldn't hike to the top of that mountain, you know, or take this, you know, kayaking trip or whatever. It pushes you out of your comfort zone. It kind of I wouldn't say forces you to do adventurous things, but you desire to do adventurous things when you are a passionate landscape photographer. And so that was kind of like a sort of abridged version of my journey and where it took me. And I'm hoping that it continues, you know, and that I get many more decades of even maybe ramping things up a little bit. You know, my dream is that if I was to, you know, really get successful at what I do with the channel and everything, is if I was to be making very serious money, I can tell you right now, most of that will be spent on just creating better content. It would be spent on higher production values. It would be spent on going to locations that right now are just, you know, physically or financially impossible to reach.
Yeah.
So everything would just get better and better and better. And that's, if I was rich, that's how I would spend a lot of my money is just experiencing as much as I could.
Yeah, totally
who,
agree.
Who knows? That could be a long time off. Might never happen. But even if it just stayed where it is right now, I'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, yeah, you're doing very well. Very well. In what I've been writing down and thinking about, I was going to talk to you today with the community of photographers and the way you've affected people, not infected, affected people. You've changed the face of photography. There's a key amount of people I have that I really look to and respect. Yourself, Adam, Tom, Nick, and you're all together on the F4. Greg producing the quality from camera, and then seeing that happen over 3-4 years. Because I've got a question here that goes back to when the Photogasm started, and you mentioned about traveling in Vancouver, but I watched the Crystal Mill adventure again, and the one thing that stood out to me about you early on, and it's something that I struggle with, is getting in the car and knocking 9, 10, 15 hours out driving across the country to get to this location. What you absolutely smashed, and you didn't have it easy. Weather was so bad. Your microphones were getting wet. You couldn't record. You couldn't do the tutorial. And I wondered, would you revisit these places? Are you thinking you would revisit, say, Crystal Mill, or what are your thoughts on revisiting places? Because you mentioned about keeping the fire alive. I guess the other question I've got is other countries, but where you are now, would you reconsider revisiting?
Well, the thing is, even in the UK for you and here for me in BC, I don't know if you've looked at it on a map, but if you just look at it on Google Maps or whatever, some satellite software,
yeah,
if you lived to be 1,000 years old
yeah,
and all that you ever did was explore that coastline, you would still not see everything.
yeah,
There's so much,
yeah.
unexplored scenery.
West Coast looks
It's
ridiculous.
just endless. So, I mean, I actually don't need to revisit a lot of the places that I've been to because there's still so much more to see. But would I revisit? Yeah, of course I would. There's no way I could ever, if I was anywhere near the Crystal Mill, let's just say I just happened to be traveling through Colorado and I was anywhere near that. Of course, I'd have to go there. I'd just have to make sure I have a better vehicle because that road is one of the worst roads you could ever drive on. It's horrendous.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But
like
what a scene! I mean, like just
Yeah.
a place like that. It's a landscape photographer's wet dream, literally.
Yes, it's original to me as well. The location with that wooden kind of mill. That to me, that scene is something that I could watch that over and over and think that's incredible. What a place!
And it's decaying rapidly, so it's not going to be there forever, right? It's this is something else that I've talked about in vlogs, and it's definitely something that I see a lot in BC because we have an ever-changing landscape. We have ever-changing conditions. We have storms that can wreck a forest. We have tides that can completely change a coastline. It's easy to, as a landscape photographer, you make your list. I'm pretty sure anyone who's listening to this podcast or watching this video, if you decide to put it out as a video, we all have a list, right? We all have this list that we compile. You see stuff online and you're like, oh, I'll have that. And you add it to your list, you paste it in, I'll get there one day.
Yeah.
And there's this assumption that it'll still be there by the time you get round to it. That it'll still look kind of like the images that you've seen, that your expectation of what you'll get when you get there can be met. And I've found more and more, especially doing things like you said, going back to certain locations is, you can go back. I mean, some of the, I was in Port Renfrew yesterday.
Yeah.
You've probably seen shots of mine and Adam's of that little fairy tree on that lake. Well, I was there yesterday. It's gone. It was completely submerged. It was under 5 feet of water. In fact, I was almost driving across that lake. The water levels were so high. But I mean, I'm hoping that when the water levels go down, it's fine. I'm sure it's had this many times during its life.
Yeah.
But the assumption that things are going to stay the same, even for 10, 20 years, we're deluding ourselves. And so we if you really have a passion to get to a location, do it while it's still there, because it might not even be there next year,
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, make a move now. Always make the move.
Well, when you can travel.
Do you want a posh biscuit?
Of course I want a posh biscuit, but I'm not going to get it through this screen, am I?
We can try,
yeah. No, I'm trying to lose my Christmas pounds, so the biscuits have been banned.
Well, these were given to me by my children earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll let Gavin have one. I'll taunt him with them.
Yeah,
I'm trying to lay off them. But what's the hardest place you've ever had to shoot? What, we've really struggled and thought, shit, why have I come here? And it might not even be famous. It could just be a place that no one knows, but you think, I'm going to get something.
Well, it was yesterday. It was
right.
I was in Avatar Grove. It's in Port Renfrew. I was in Avatar Grove and the surrounding forested area. There's a few miles of really nice forest there, and the rains were unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. It was like Noah's Ark needed to be built. Oof. And so you've got like a forest that's a sloped forest where you hardly ever see that much running water. And all of a sudden, the whole forest is transformed into a waterfall. There's just waterfalls everywhere, pouring around every single tree. And it was just a spectacular sight, because, it's unusual. You don't really see that often. And I worked for hours. I was climbing up here and over there and in rivers, standing in rivers, and just completely drenched, utterly soaked. And I never got my camera out of the bag, not once, because I just couldn't find it. I just couldn't see the composition. There was so much, everything was so complicated. Everything was so messy. And I think we all suffer from this pressure to just create something from absolute chaos just because it's beautiful to the naked eye. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can frame up a composition that will do it justice. Sometimes just stop and just witness the moment. And, you have this kind of internal war where you're kind of like, wow, I'm so glad I drove 6 hours today because I got to see that. But then on the other side, you're kind of pissed off because you didn't take a single image and you failed, right?
Yeah, I'll vlog.
But it's kind of like, it's the wrong way to look at it, I think, because at the end of the day, I went out there with Amanda, and when we were driving back, she says, I had a brilliant day. And she stood in the rain, completely getting drenched. She had a brilliant day. And my sort of initial reaction was, well, I kind of failed, But then I thought to myself, did I have a good day? And I did. Yeah. I really had a good day. And I got to see something that, living on this island for 13 years, I've never seen that. So, yesterday was one of the hardest things, but a lot of it's about this sort of expectations versus reality. And I'm actually going to do a video about this soon, because I've had so many failed shoots recently where, and you'll know this, where you start filming and everything's looking promising, right? So you do the whole thing where you film B-roll. Hey, here's me hiking along. Yeah, off we go. We're having an adventure. Yeah. Film a few silly moments, and then you get there. It's like, oh, wow, this is fantastic. And, you set up your camera. And just last week, I was on one of the Gulf Islands, and I'd done all of this work, right? This is my second attempt getting to this place, and it's a real pain to get to. It's not easy. Yeah. I get there. We're up at 5 a.m. We're hiking through the dark. It's very dangerous hiking. It's slimy rocks. We get to this spot. I've already framed up this composition from my first visit, so I knew exactly what I wanted to get. And I'm looking at the tiny little gap on the horizon. So the sky is completely full of cloud, right? Ooh. And there's a tiny gap on the horizon. That's every sunrise. It's our dream, right? That's what we want. We know those clouds are going to light up. Yeah. And I'm talking to the camera. Oh, I think it's going to happen. I think we're going to get it. And it started to bloom. It's like, oh my God. And then it just died. Just like that. And so even though I am very experienced at facing failure for sunrises, I just had this expectation. I just had this belief that it was going to absolutely kick off, and this was going to be one of the best shots of my life and probably the best vlog ever. Yeah. No, the reality is it was garbage, and it was a complete letdown, and it was a waste of time, money, and effort in terms of productivity. But we have this expectation, we have this belief, even though we have experience that tells us otherwise. It's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen. I'm going to get the conditions that I'm dreaming for, and you get there and you fail, and it happens over and over and over again. But there is something inside of us. We call it self-delusion. I don't know what you want to call it, but there is something inside of us that makes us keep going. We keep trying it, and I can't explain what that is, but yeah, I think I'm going to do this video. It's just going to show. And I also did that, that whole when Saturn and Jupiter did that a lot. What the Great Conjunction was it called?
Yeah, Christmas star.
Even though I knew my image was going to be crap, even though I looked on Stellarium and you could see their simulation of zoom right in. Yeah, it's pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
I still thought it was going to look like something out of a science fiction movie where, the planets glowing just fill the frame and it's just epic. And so I went and I shot it, and it was pathetic. It was just the worst shot ever. So I don't know. I'm thinking I'll put these together and sort of show people, okay, here's my expectation.
Yes.
And here's what I actually got.
What it actually looks like.
But like I say, we just keep on going, don't we? And for those 1 in 10 moments where it is perfect, oh man, that high.
Yeah.
I can be on a high for days after a killer shot, even when it's not in your mind.
Yes.
There's something about those elevated serotonin levels that just, it just stays in your system for days, and you're just happy. And it's okay. Finally, my reality did meet my expectation.
The resonance of it, you just feel it for days after.
You do.
And see, I'm a turd polisher, so when I go out, everything's wonderful. I'm a bit, like a goldfish. Whoa, look at that! It's a cloud. Oh, it's another cloud. Wow, look at that! Like it's another cloud.
Well, as long as you're happy, then that's good, isn't it?
Well, that's it. It's a constant I feed off nature, because I think I'm not going to get it. I know where I am, and I know that I've got to make the most out of where I am. And sometimes the failures, people don't see them because I'm still happy. So I get a lot of people might say, "Oh God, you always go out and you always get good conditions." I'm like, serious? Did you look at how grey it was? There was no light. The rocks and everything were just, everything just didn't look right. But at the end of the day, I'll make something from it. I'll polish that turd. And
I mean, turd polishing is, my old college instructor, Ted Lee, always used to say, you can't polish a turd.
No.
And, ultimately he's right. However,
you can put a bow tie on it.
You can put some lipstick on it. And I've done it in the past where I've shot something and thought that's just crap.
Yeah.
But you shoot it anyway because you're there.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, even 3 years later, you might be just accidentally going through your files and you see something. You see,
exactly.
Oh, how did I miss that? And it might even be that you just crop something out, some tiny little frame out of a much bigger image that you just didn't see while you were there at the time. And so sometimes you can actually polish these turds or find gems, diamonds in the rough. Let's call it that.
Yes. I love that. I love that idea of getting something from nothing. I kind of feed on that, and I do get quite excited by it because it's not easy. It's not easy doing what we do. Even when you've got it all, like you say, you talk about Vancouver, and it's a stunning place, but it's still a trial and error. It's still art, isn't it? You're still reaching for something in your eye that you see that you think's quality or stands out to you, that you get an emotion, like you say, it resonates for days.
Well, you do get a bit more, I think, as you develop, you get a bit more selective. So I definitely take my camera out of the bag far less now than I did 10 years ago, because I was a bit like you, where it's like, oh, everything's amazing. You're just super excited.
Yeah.
But over the years, you kind of get tired of wading through files that you'll never ever develop. and it's like, what am I doing? So
Yeah.
now I just kind of, I try to keep it as high quality as I can. And you wouldn't know it because I try and post vlogs fairly often, but I have an entire hard drive full of vlogs that I've filmed that just never, they're never going to see the light of day because the image was crap, and I can't fake it. I can't I can't pretend to my audience that I'm excited about this crap shot. I can't. I just can't fake it. I can't try and get you motivated and you inspired when I clearly am not. I'm disappointed and I'm pissed off and I'm let down. And so there's, like I said, there's a full hard drive full of all of those crappy old vlogs that I don't know. Maybe I'll kind of cobble parts of them together and put them in this video where I'm talking about, expectations versus reality. And it's sad because some of them, even me and Adam, we'd go off to some island somewhere. We'd film some hilarious skits and there's a good story build up.
Yeah.
And then you go for this sunrise shoot. There's all this build up and it's absolute crap.
Yeah.
And I know that people do enjoy watching failures, but I don't enjoy editing it.
No.
I have to put this crap together. Yeah. So if I'm just like, oh God, I've got to do this vlog where I didn't even get a shot, and all of the time I was talking about the shot, you can clearly see that I'm like, I'm trying my best, but I'm not going to fake it, and I think people would be, I think I'd get called out if I was like, okay, look at this shot. Then I show you this pile of crap with a wonky horizon and it's out of focus and it's noisy as shit. People are going to look at that and say, you're just faking.
There's a standard. There has to be a standard. I have a standard myself where it's like you say, you can't put things out like that. And I have seen quite a bit of that. But it's good for people to hear that you've failed on that monumental scale and that you've got a hard drive filled with it, because I think people don't realize as creators when we go out just how it happens. Like the Winter Hill, I went up with, I don't know, do you know Winter Hill at all? It's not a great place. It's not great. It's just a telephone mast and a bit of a hill and some reservoirs all around it. And I was so excited thinking I'm going to get some in this yarrow forest. There's all these oak trees and it was dead bright. The sun was bursting through. Everything was shocking. And that was a complete failure. And but I was still excited. But when I got home, the key point you said is I couldn't edit it. I couldn't put it together because I thought, I can't do that. It's wrong. Yeah. The quality was tragic.
No, and you want to inspire your audience. You want them to see this thing that you do, and for you to be genuine, and for I mean, if you want to inspire your audience, you can't do that if you're, just completely depressed about what it is that you're doing. Although, I mean, there's a certain amount of that I guess you do have to show so that they can also identify with those failures. But for me personally, I have to enjoy what I do, otherwise I'm not going to do it anymore. So I'll always prefer to just go out and shoot a new one. Just go out and go somewhere else where I did feel enthused and I did get a result. I'm going to always put that first. So you'll know when I start putting out videos of me failing, you'll know it's because I'm stuck in the house and I can't get out. And I can't go and refilm anything new. So there you go.
You and Brent looking through your camera bag.
So what's in my bag video?
What's in Brent's bag? Yeah, well, no, I don't think we'll be seeing that though, will we? 7 ways to look through your rucksack. I
mean, one day I will do. I do get asked for, we want to know what's in my bag.
The video you did where you are now. The treadmill and a couple of weeks ago, that was fantastic. I think there was so much in that you could take from it if you tuned in at any one point as well. I think people could come in and out of that video. I think that'll have legs and last a long time. The more people, like, oh, what's Gavin used there? I'll go to 20 minutes in and he's got a towel over his head. What's going on here? think
I thought
people
that
can
video
get.
was going to be so easy to shoot. I
Yeah,
thought an edit. I thought, oh, thank God, I can rest for a few days. It
yeah.
ended up taking me longer to put that video together than a proper vlog. It's ridiculous.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant! I enjoyed that. There was a lot in it. It really was. I've umpteen questions here.
All right,
I'm
what's
just,
next?
I'm looking down, folks. I'm trying to be professional. It's Gavin, but I've got a bit of script. Look at this.
Oh, look at that. Where did they come from?
Out my head.
Oh,
Lots
right.
of
Oh,
them.
that worries me.
It's dangerous, very dangerous.
Yeah.
How much time would you spend working on a composition? I think people, again, don't realise you've mentioned about the failures, but how long do you spend? Say you're working an image, you're waiting for light, 2 days, 4 hours. You know
Well,
what?
you could kind of say sometimes it might take you years because
Yeah.
you might go to a place. Let's say it's a static place that hardly ever changes, right? So that every time you go back, the only thing that changes is how you compose your vision. So it might take you years before you refine things, and it could even be a particular lens that sees things in a certain way.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's a lens that you put on that all of a sudden now it's one of those characteristically beautiful lenses when you shoot wide open, and it's got a beautiful shallow depth of field, and now you see it differently. So now you compose your shot differently. So
That's deep. That's
you
deep.
may compose it in a way so that we all look for things like frames, don't we?
Yes.
Right. But you may compose it now because of this one piece of gear, this lens. You might compose it so that it's framed and you blur out that frame completely, right? Or because it has this beautiful bokeh, you now completely change your position and find some flowers to put in front of it, and you blur out the flowers. So, I mean, it's kind of a very difficult question to answer. How long do you spend on a composition?
Yeah,
But
does vlogging affect that though? Would
does
the
vlogging affect what?
that time limit? So I can't remember the place you went to where you hiked quite far into the valley with the mountains, the big peak.
Yeah, Tonquin.
Tonquin, yes. And that just seemed so effortless. But to me, I was thinking, geez, that must have took him at least 2 or 3 hours because the light didn't come on the peaks, and then he was looking for the foreground.
I mean,
and
that composition is just one of those processes of evolution, I guess, where you get there, you look around. I first saw that composition within about 20 minutes of arriving, and it was dark.
Yeah.
So I couldn't fully see how I would work that. Then the next day I came back and I couldn't find it. It was because it's a weird area. It's like, it's just this boggy marsh and it's chaos. It's chaos. It's just, you can't really figure out where you were last night in the dark. It's not like I'm going to put sticks down.
Yeah.
But eventually I found it, after working my way towards, that's it. That's it. So then I got the composition that day, but the light wasn't quite right. So I knew that the next day exactly where that would be. So on that third attempt, you're already at least a couple of hours of effort into it, right?
Yeah.
But once you find that composition and you feel like there's a chance that you might get good light, it's such a wonderful feeling to know that, okay, I'm here, I'm early, I've got everything just how I want it. And now I just have to sit and wait for those clouds to light up and that peak to ignite. That is one of my favorite feelings. That it's like this complete relaxation. It's like, it's a massive sigh of relief. And then you kind of relax. You're almost bored because you're kind of killing time, right?
Yeah.
And then you see the sun just start to work its magic. And then your chest your heart starts beating out your chest, your adrenaline levels raise. And you're like, oh God. The problem for me is I have to do all that and then I have to film it, right? So there's always a second camera. There's always more gear. You're always worried about batteries. You're always worried about lenses fogging up. There's so much to worry about when you're vlogging. But if all you're doing is just taking the shot, it's a sublime moment that you can really take your time and enjoy, and I don't get the luxury of doing that very much, where I just go out and shoot stills.
Yeah.
But when I do, and if it works like that, it's just, those are the best moments of my life, where it just all comes together.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, expectations did, meet reality in this instance, and that's what we live for.
Yeah. cracking answer that. You'll have a lot of people moist after that one, I tell you.
Oh, that's good.
Right, let's have a look here because I'm massively into my music as well. So I thought I've got to ask you about music, and I get slated on the podcast what we do with the lads. And I love Gong, Osric Tentacles, Porcupine Tree. No, you've
Oh,
gone blank. Oh,
oh dear.
no, don't know any of them. All right, I knew it was wrong to bring this up. Now I'm even more embarrassed.
Yeah.
But there you go. What's your music of choice? What do you
Well,
chill out to?
it's sad to say, right, that now, and I bet it's not just me, but I pretty much consume most of my music on Spotify, which might be a bad thing because I heard recently that they don't really share their profits with their artists that much, which pisses me off. I think that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
But that's, I've invested a couple of years into Spotify, and that's where I listen to my music. And the sad thing is, a lot of the time, the way that the algorithm works is you'll hear a song that you really love and you'll favorite that song. You'll add it to your liked songs, and you never really know who it is or pay that much attention because a lot of the artists I listen to are really obscure.
Yes.
And so I might have, like, if I look at my playlist right now, is there any artist in there that you might have even had a chance of?
See, I love obscure music, like Modest Mouse or, oh, God, let me think of a really obscure one. See, I like a lot of Frank Zappa and.
Oh, yeah, you like the strange stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love, one of my favorite bands or artist groups of all time is London Grammar. Absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
And then there's a female artist called Gabrielle Aplin. But I mean, there's so much stuff in here. One of my favorite rock bands is called the Band Royale. Listen to their song called The Dreamer. But yeah, I mean, I've got everything from Living Colour to Mute Math to Beck to Alice in Chains.
Yes.
I like everything. I like a mixture of, for anything from proper heavy metal to just absolute chill out stuff.
Yeah.
And as a musician, I don't want to get bored. I don't want to listen to just one type of genre.
Yes.
And so I mix it up, and that's why I like Spotify, because I get this breadth of content. But I do want to get this thing addressed where if artists aren't getting paid, that's not on.
No, and it's the same. I have Apple Music, and it's exactly the same with that. And I have a few thousand different songs on there as well that I've paid for before the Apple Music came along. So it is shocking. Like Guy Garvey of Elbow, he's making a big sound about it because they're getting peanuts for it. They're getting nothing.
I do like a bit of Elbow as well. That thing that they did with was it the London Philharmonic?
Yeah.
It was just sublime to watch that. It was just one of the best things
Beatles,
I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Brilliant.
I went watching them at Jodrell Bank.
That
was something else. That was a bit special as well.
Yeah.
I think photography and music in terms of the arts, they very much aligned for me. Sometimes I'll go out with my headphones on the hike or the walk, and I'll have my tunes to get me thinking and seeing, and it'll put me in a mood or emotion, whether it be chill out or it's Pearl Jam or.
I can't do that because I might get eaten by a bear. If you've got
good point.
You've got to keep your wits about you. That's the thought of putting headphones on in the forest, and no.
It wouldn't be birds for me, it'd be scallies, but I've got my tripod. I think I could manage a scally, but possibly not a bear. No.
You're probably in more danger from scallies than I am from bears. Touch wood. Like now that I've said that, that's one of the famous last words.
Yeah. We'll skirt past that one. Right, so we're avoiding the main thing here, and this is a lot of questions that I've got for you. Is like, give us an inside scoop on the book, even if it's just a little tantalizing taste of maybe the first couple of pages and your dialogue. Are you putting a forward in? What's your opening image?
Well, the book is done, right? The only thing that needs to go on is the forward by Adam Gibbs. I've asked Adam to write the forward. I'm still waiting for it, Adam. So if anyone's like upset about their book being late, just blame Adam Gibbs.
Well, do you want me to tell you a little secret?
Yeah.
I'm speaking to Adam next week.
You should give him some grief.
So I'll give him some shizzle.
If he hasn't, put it this way, if he hasn't done it by next week, I'll be doing one without a forward because I've got to get these books out. But yeah, I mean, it's going brilliant. It's finished. Awesome. So now I just need the forward from Adam. And then the process is sending the design over to the print company, and they'll send me the proofs. Yes. And then I'm sure that there's some things I'll have to fix, whether it's little contrast adjustments or color tones. Yeah. Then I'll fix those, send those back, get a second set of proofs. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that on the second set of proofs, everything's good to go. And then if it is, then we just wait for the print run. They then ship it out to Vancouver Island. And then I get busy with my pen signing all of these pre-orders.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, the book, what I wanted to do is I felt like if I didn't put some of my personality and my stories and keep it real, I figured that people would feel a bit let down. So the stories kind of take the form of what happened that day, what I actually went through, as well as talking about, the actual shot and the composition and the conditions. And I've tried to, well, I'm not going to fake it, but anything that was humorous and funny that happened that day, that goes in there, no matter how appalling it is.
Yeah.
And then, of course, underneath every image, I really wanted to put some information about anything that I did that was a little bit technical or unusual, or that anything that I thought people might be curious about. I've been fully transparent and said, this is how I did it, and there's a paragraph in there that explains how it was done. I mean, some images don't really even need that. They're just dead simple. But even then I've put something in there. So I feel like it's got that perfect balance between sort of technical information that I think people will get some use out of, and then that sort of inspirational element where people will think, yeah, I want to go and do that too. I understand exactly how that feels.
Yeah.
And then also, there's plenty of chuckles to be had in
lens
there as
cloths
well.
And
yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, there's been a few.
I'd have thought so.
There's been a few moments. Yeah. So I mean, that's all I can tell you. Like, I'm not gonna give you like a little excerpt, because you've got to save something for when I finally get it all together and it's ready to ship, and then I'm going to put together like a preview video and actually show people. Then maybe I'll do like a little reading.
That would be good. With a little teddy bear, a nice lit leather armchair.
Well, I'll be with the cat, right? I'll have my cat there.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And I'll have Amanda Cletus there on one side.
Have you got rid of Cletus or what?
Cletus, he hasn't left the camper in a long time. We try and get him to come out. He refuses. It's like, no, I'm going to sit here in the camper in the cold. Weird. It's a strange dog, is Cletus. Quite frankly, I feel like, he might be better off with a different owner, someone who's a bit more suited to
Clarence.
his temperament.
Clarence.
Well, Brent was very interested.
He wasn't he? But Brent had that look in his eyes.
He did, but yeah, I mean, I think Clarence is probably the guy, right? Clarence, I can see Clarence in his red jacket, taking him for a walk. That's something I could definitely see.
I was cringing watching that. I was watching that and going, is there any of me in this? I was actually going, oh, Jesus, do I do that? Oh, no. And years ago when I used to play golf, we always had this guy called Clarence Clatterbucket.
No, that was not his name.
Well, kind of. I kind of invented that.
Right.
He used to come with us and I'd be like, here's Clarence. I don't think his name was Clarence, but he was the best golfer there's ever been.
Oh, of course.
And he'd drive it straight into, off and he'd be like, oh, I'll just get that. And he'd be like, walking all, fast and kicking his ball out. And, so he got Clarence Clatterbucket. And then when your video, I thought, oh, Clarence, this should be good. And then I'm thinking, hold on, let's be honest here. There's a bit of me in there.
I think that's why I got so many thumbs down on that video.
Oh, you didn't get one off me. It was hilarious.
That video. So Clarence obviously is everything I hate about photography and landscape photography, but not necessarily hate. Some of the things that I just see on a regular basis that kind of make me chuckle. Yeah. They end up in Clarence.
I'm a fine artist,
Well, I had somebody comment on there saying, "Is this a dig at Gary Goff?" I said, "No. Why would you say that?" oh, just just some references there. I think you might be talking about Gary. I was like, absolutely no, I'm not
I
talking
think
about
that's the
Gary.
beauty of it, though. If you're honest with yourself and you look at it, even there's a bit of you in there. There's a bit of everyone in there,
Exactly,
and I
exactly, and
love that.
that's the thing. It's like it's a light-hearted poke. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of Adam in I'm taking a piss out of Adam and myself and Tom,
Yeah.
just as much as I'm taking a piss out of the snobbery that surrounds
Yes.
landscape
Yes.
photography, and that's what I really wanted to take the piss at, is just the pretentious snobbery that you typically get in certain groups of landscape photography, typically from people that couldn't take a good shot to save their life.
Yeah.
And I feel that they deserve to be poked fun of, and if you can't handle that, then I guess that's why I got your thumbs down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just a silly character. It's just a chuckle.
Yeah.
Just have a laugh and move on to the next video.
Is he coming back?
I don't think he'll be coming back for a full episode, because I think $22 is just not enough for me to get paid for that kind of abuse. But I was did warm my heart a little bit to see how much people hated him.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Nev Cartledge?
Yeah, I've heard of Nev. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you have. He's awesome. But Nev does skits a little bit as well.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah, I think you could have many characters. It would be good to see you and Nev, actually. I'm hoping I can get Nev on this. It would be great if he'd come on this, because he's such a top fella, and he skits as well, and his sense of humor, I think, is very similar to yourself.
I did see the one where he was caught out by a couple walking past him on the riverside doing something that. Yeah, exactly. I liked that. I mean, that's I like to think my humor is a bit more nuanced.
Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe people think, no, that's exactly what you would do, Gavin. But yeah, if we ever met, this is the thing. It's like whenever I meet people, if I'm out vlogging, it's a natural progression to say, okay, right, here's what we do.
Yeah.
And you just film something silly. Yeah. So when I went out with Bri Barnum with Adam, we got to this spot and I was like, right, okay, I've got this idea. Here's what we do. You get down there, we'll be up here. And we filmed this skit that was just, and that's how they're all filmed. It's spur of the moment.
Yeah.
There are the occasional ones which are scripted, but most of the time it's improv. And we just laughed, so it took a long time to get that clip done, because we were laughing, and me and Adam hadn't filmed together in months.
Yeah.
So that's just what happens, is whenever I get together with people, if they have a sense of humor, then I immediately want to just, right, let's do this. And or they might even have an idea, they might say, Gavin, I'd love it if you did this. And that'll get me thinking, and then we'll conjure something up, and right, okay, let's do it. And then you just hit record. And the way that it happens is you hit record, you improvise, and then, obviously I give people direction, because it's going to be my thing in the end that goes out. And so I know how I edit things. I know how I'll edit it. So, as people say their lines, I might say, oh, it'd be funnier if you said this. And then they might say, yeah, but it'd be funnier if you said this. And I'll do that, so I'll take direction from them. Yeah. They'll take direction from me. And together we just kind of organically form this moment of absolute nonsense that I can see exactly how it's all going to get put together at the time that I'm filming it. It's all going on in there. And I know how this is going to work in the end, where I will put the awkward, elongated pauses. And weirdly, people trust me to get it right. Like I remember the first time I was shooting with Michael Shainbloom, like he was definitely reticent about this whole thing. He's like, he phoned me up. He says, dude, I don't know if I can do comedy. And I don't want people to think I'm trying to replace Adam as your sidekick, dude. And he was all worried about it. And I just said, look, we'll try it. And if it doesn't feel right, and if you don't like it, then we'll bin it. But I said, I'm pretty sure, you're comfortable in front of a camera. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to figure it out. And we just keep going. We just hit record and we try it. And if it doesn't work, we keep working. And eventually it works. And then it took us a while. But I think eventually Michael and I got to this place where he played the best straight man.
Straight, yeah. Yes.
and he could do that deadpan face and just keep it going for way longer than I can. I can do deadpan face, but I can't keep it going for
Not
very
for
long.
long.
And Michael's just like, he's got that, he's got that skill.
Yeah.
And the longer he does it, the more I lose it. I
Yeah.
can't keep it together. So yeah, that is what happens. That is the phenomenon when you end up going out shooting with me. If you've got a sense of humor, if you haven't, that's fine too.
Yeah. Looking back though at those skits, and you could see how we got each one you made. You could see how Michael got settled in to the marathon bar, the Snickers, and the peanuts was hilarious. But each time the smelly feet in the hotel room, and it just got better and better. Where you could tell he was really starting to get into it. Where you sat at the bench outside. There was 4 of you, I think, the Moab guys.
Oh yeah.
And he was on one then. You could see it was flowing.
That video, the one where I was looking at my channel the other day, and you look through all these thumbnails and you see them, and I thought, oh, that was one of my favorite videos of all time. And it got very few views. Not that many people watched it compared to some others.
Yeah.
And that was like, what a waste, I felt like, because that was the funniest skit ever with Michael. And we actually did some pretty good acting.
You did.
Yeah. And I just feel like it needs to be brought back somehow, because it needs to be seen by more people.
Yeah.
And but yeah, he definitely got into the swing of things, did Michael. And I wish we could get together and do some more. We keep chatting every now and then and talking about doing something, but the border's closed.
I know, it's shocking.
We can't. But
I mean,
when the border opens and we can do stuff, I've got like a whole list of things and people that I want to meet up with, and it's going to be like this huge release, this huge breath of relief and freedom.
That was one of my next questions after the book is, what projects have you got lined up? I know it's difficult to answer that, but I can see you've got lots of things going on in your head that you want to do and achieve.
Well, what I'd hope to do this year, and you never know, because our freedoms and liberties are changing on a daily basis. So who knows if I'm going to be allowed to even leave the province. But what I would love to do is get up to the Yukon here in Canada, which is a very northern-based province. And it's there's a place up there called Tombstone Territorial Park. And the pictures of it are just unbelievable. It's very mountainous, really jagged, dramatic, scary looking mountains. And it's wild, wild country, lots of grizzly bears. It's kind of a scary place. And so lots of big hikes would be involved. So I'd like to do that. That's been on my list for years. And seeing as I can't travel internationally, it's one of the places in Canada I'm probably, touch wood, going to be allowed to visit.
Do it.
So that's my big trip. Hopefully, I don't know if that's going to be the spring or the summer. If it's the summer, I know there's going to be bugs, like mosquitoes will be unbearable. So I'd rather avoid that. So maybe it'll be early summer, late spring. And then my other hope, what I would love to do, is a cross Canada trip from coast to coast.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've really not seen that much of the other side of Canada. So I'd really like to do that. And ideally, we would do it during the fall so that there's beautiful fall colors all over Canada, So again, depending on what the, provincial health orders say that we're allowed to do in terms of travel, if that turns into a reality, that could be fantastic, because we would go in the camper, we would set off all the way from Vancouver Island all the way to, the coast and on the other side of Canada, and just see all of these amazing places along the way, and then drive back. Hit up all these different spots. So it could be absolutely legendary. It might be like a 6 or an 8 week journey. It could be huge.
Wow.
So I'm gonna, if that does look like it's gonna happen, I'm gonna see if I can try and get some kind of sponsorship or something to spice things up. Maybe see if I can contact some helicopter companies that can get you into locations that are difficult to access. So those are my hopes for this year that I've already kind of fleshed out in my mind, but it all kind of depends on the rules and regs as to whether I can do that.
Yeah, well, putting the rules and regs to one side, I can smell, and I've even wrote this down here, Revenge of F4, you're going to need a bigger trailer. I can see it. Part deuce, you're going to be doing it again. I can just tell you were all like, we'll never do that again. And it was just like what the wife said to me after the first kid. And we've got 2.
Yeah, but how many years did it take you to forget how awful it was the first time?
Well, for her, it weren't very long. It was a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I think 6 months for you guys is about right.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I think not one of us is yet ready to even.
He's still sore. Still sore.
God, I don't know. I don't know if we would do it. We actually did talk about doing some kind of mockumentary of kind of where are they now type thing.
That'd be great. Yeah.
So we have a lot of ideas about what we would do with that. I'm not going to mention any of those just in case we do go ahead and do it. But I think it will be kind of funny because, maybe for a 1 year anniversary of when we released it, maybe we should do something like that. Because
definitely.
it's this time 1 year ago that Adam and I set off with Greg to meet up with Tom and Nick and began that whole ridiculous, awful road trip. Is 1 year ago, and that's before we knew what was going on, what was brewing and how the world was going to change. Back then we were just let's go.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it, at that point and what happened and just seeing it back, the freedom and
you look back on stuff and you think, would I tell myself if I could go back and talk to my old self, would I burst the bubble and tell myself, you know what's coming?
Yeah.
I don't think I would. I would just let me enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna get to an end here. We've been at it for an hour and 10 minutes, including the little refreshing break.
That's good because that'll be like $400 or $500 I'll be getting paid then.
Probably biscuits. You said biscuits was okay. Well, Gary Goff said biscuits would be all right. I can send you some biscuits,
well, as long as it's a fridge full.
Coconut ones as well, so they're a bit special. Yeah, but I've not finished. I've one more question, and I'm not sure. Well, actually, I've got 2 more questions, but one's a bit of fun. The other one, we're back serious again. From Adam, Greg, Nick, Tom. Did you acquire anything in terms of skills or ways of seeing that you hadn't thought of yourself and that you use today that you think, I remember that Tom did? Or
that's a tricky question. On that trip, no, I didn't. But I've definitely acquired a little bit of that from Adam, I would say, over the years, in the way that he, his routine is you go to somewhere epic and he just leaves and goes somewhere that completely ignores the epic thing you went there for. And he looks for something else.
Yeah.
And I think it's just his big ego, right? He's got this huge ego and he just doesn't want to have the same stuff as everybody else. So he's like, oh God, if they're doing that, I'll deliberately just go and do the opposite. That's what he does.
The Canadian Rockies, I love those series of ones where he went off and took the picture of the trees that were all like burnt. They look like matchsticks. And you
I hated that picture, actually. I thought it was terrible. I hated it. And me and Nick just laughed at both of them. What are you doing? You have to look at, burnt matches, rubbish. But what he did get was this beautiful picture of a completely stripped down tree up at Abraham Lake, way off in the distance with a telephoto that none of us even bothered to look like. I think I even said, where's he going? God, he's doing his old tricks, right? He's off. We get there. We're all like searching for these ice bubbles. He's off.
Yeah, he's gone.
I'm not doing what you guys are doing. I'm going to do something different. And he got the best shot of that whole trip.
Brilliant.
Was that weird old tree with no leaves on it. It's just sprawling out. That was a great shot. So I would say that's what I've taken away from Adam. The other two are just beginners.
Oh, Nick. I hope Nick comes on this as well. I've not asked him yet, but yeah, I'm going
Well, you might have to pay him in a bit more than biscuits. I don't think he'll do it for biscuits.
Yeah. Wow.
Pay him in steak, he'll show up.
Oh, yeah, I could do that. Wife's a chef as well.
Oh, is she?
So, yeah.
What's the specialty?
Oof. Well, that's between me and the wife.
What kind of a show is this?
Oh, she makes a mean shepherd's pie. I love a shepherd's pie.
I do miss the bland English food. I do, honestly. You know, things like shepherd's pie, cottage pie, toad in the hole.
Yeah.
Even just a Sunday roast.
Oh, she makes a belter. Makes a belting Sunday roast.
Oh, just stop it. I don't even eat meat anymore, so I can't even.
Moving on. My last question. What's for tea?
Probably a salad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's probably
you're looking
another...
better for it, though, I've got to say.
Well, I was, and then I just kind of let it all slide, you know, around about a week before Christmas. It's been bad. Yeah. So it's salads now. And, you know, I do miss me wine. I haven't had wine for at least 4 hours. So I do miss me wine. But yeah, it's a lot of salads. I eat a lot of fish. I'm a pescatarian, so I eat a lot of fish. And we have excellent salmon here in BC. So we eat a lot of fish. And I like a lot of Mediterranean food. I make a lot of curries.
Yes, I like yes.
I've been kind of obsessed about making my own curries these days. I think I've nailed it. But tonight, my lovely lady is going to make a bit of falafel. She can actually make her own falafel from scratch with that lovely Greek roasted potato and a bit of salad. Ooh, that's absolutely magic.
Oh yeah,
can't go wrong
for that. I'm on my way. That sounds good.
No. We're not allowed guests right now. Sorry, Mally.
Yeah, of course, no problem. Well, thank you very much, Gavin. An absolute pleasure. This.
It really has. It really has been your absolute pleasure. I'm a bit upset that it wasn't Gary Goff, you know, but we turned polished in the end, didn't we? We made it work. Even
he does do that, Gary. Yeah.
But you'll put a word in for me, though.
I'll have a word with him when I finally get to see him. He's been going off with other people behind my back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Adam does that a lot.
Last time I seen Gary was before it all happened. We was doing a big storm chase in the Wirral.
Yeah, in the Wirral.
On the Wirral. In the Wirral. On the Wirral. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to watch your mates like that. Yeah. They'll just ditch you and go off with someone else. Adam does it all the time.
Yeah. Right, we'll end it there.
That got weird.
It did get weird. I'll cut that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you really enjoyed that. And, well, what more can I say? I did. I just thought I'd pop on and just say thank you very much to everyone that's watched so far. Episodes 1, 2, because 3 is already in the can, and 4, and 5, and 6 is on the way. Lots more guests, lots more interesting talk from a variety of people. Some faces you might know, some faces you might not. This isn't all about the big and famous, but you know, let's see if we can get whoever. These people, don't forget, are people that I love, respect and watch and really enjoy their photography, and I hope you do too. So thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for sticking to the end. And there's only one thing left to say, and that's Sydney from Let's Create the Photography Show. Sydney.